Traders, welcome in this video. I'm going to go over some of the top setups for swing trading breakouts for next week. Before I begin, if you guys are new, welcome. My name is Luke. I am a swing trader. We try to catch momentum. So let me just give you a quick example of a textbook trade so you guys understand what we try to do. So the first thing is we want to find stocks with a lot of momentum, right? Stocks that have made large moves. Then we're looking for areas of consolidation. So in this case, EAVA, which is a trade we took, we entered at 750. This stock made a nice move, consolidated, right? And then after a stock consolidates, and when you have higher lows, lower highs, the stock's tightening up, this can tell us that there's accumulation, right? Sellers are leaving the position, people are taking profits, and buyers are scooping up the shares. So when you have a surge in volume and the stock is breaking out, we can enter a trade with a tight stop loss, right? So a loss is going to be quick and small, but we can enter with the anticipation that momentum is going to resume, the same momentum the stock previously had. And there you go. On a stock like this, every single day was up. And in about 10 days, the stock has more than doubled, right? So that's like an ideal trade for us. We took this trade, and this kind of brings us to one of the first setups we're looking for to next week. It dropped back down, right? There was some profit taking here. Has been bought back up. So I just want to watch to see how it performs around these levels. Maybe one little pullback with, maybe one pullback with a higher low, and then the stock might want to break out from there once again. So leading stocks move in staircases, right? The winning stocks in the market will make big move to the upside and impulse, and then you have consolidation, and then it'll eventually break out for the next leg higher, and so forth. You can go look at any stock that's made a big move. You will see that type of price action to some extent, right? That is the nature of supply and demand in the market. So that's just a brief overview of what we do. But now let's get into actually some of the material for this week. So I want to start off by talking about the S&P 500. While we do not trade the S&P 500 directly, it's going to impact just about everything we touch, right? If the market's dropping, we don't want to trade. Why do we not want to trade? Well, because breakouts are not going to work. Stocks are not moving higher. And if a stock does move higher, typically the move gets sold into, right? So when the stock market's below its moving averages and trending lower, we're not interested. Now, on this pivot and reversal, we had a lot of good opportunities. Now, the last week has been kind of plagued with this choppy action. Market's developing a little bit. It could also be a pivot point back lower, right? Part of a larger market downtrend. But anyway, we're monitoring the S&P 500. And if stocks begin to break out, we obviously want to see the S&P 500 moving higher so that those stocks can hold onto their gains. So anyway, let's start by looking at the first name, which is Pony, P-O-N-Y. I entered this stock on this breakout here. You can see, right? Stock makes a nice move, consolidates, higher lows, decline in volume. Then you see that burst in volume. And I bought here at 1140 or 1117, I think was my entry. And majority of my sales came in here, this 17 area. Now, since then, it hasn't really done anything. So that was a decent sell. You had some initial profit taking, bounced off the moving average, and now it's just been chopping away. But as it consolidates here, the most important thing for me to note is that the stock's up significantly. Just a month ago, this stock was $4. Now it's $19, and it's not selling into any of this, right? There are buyers scooping it up here, and sellers are exiting the position, right? For example, myself, I exited this position, right? So people like myself selling that profited from this move right here, right, are exiting the position, and you have new buyers stepping in. So I look for key level, right? A level I want to see a stock break over to enter the trade for the next leg higher. In this case, I would kind of look for a break over 1975. Might take a couple days. I would actually prefer a couple days for it to get here. Maybe an inside day here, and then one more day leading higher so that we can get a tight stop loss. So why do I want a tight stop loss? Well, because if we have a tight stop loss, I can buy more shares for the same amount of risk. Say I lose $250 on a stop loss, right? Now, the closer my stop loss is to my entry, say this is my entry, this is my stop loss, the more shares I can buy, and I'll still lose that same 250, right? And the level of my stop loss is very important because it has to be a level in which the trade is invalidated at the same time as close as possible to my entry so that I can buy as many shares for the same amount of dollar risk. So anyway, let's say our stop loss is somewhere around 19, our entry is somewhere around this 20 mark, right? This key level, let's just say 2015, right? And we can target, we don't know where this stock can go, but the point is, if we have this tight stop loss here, we're multiplying our risk significantly on another strong leg to the upside, right? So that's kind of what we're looking to accomplish here. So Pony AI is really nice, and it will definitely be on the watch list for next week. EAVA, I already talked about this move. I'm basically just looking to see if it can set back up. It is trying to break out in the hourly here, but I want to see if it can actually get some strong volume, right? Volume has been declining consistently, as you can see. So until I see strong volume coming back into the stock, I wouldn't trust any small breakout. I think it can fade back down, put in a higher low, right? So maintain this trend here, and then eventually we'll develop into a larger breakout. Thing is, if it doesn't get volume, right, this stock could eventually break out again, but you will get stopped out. And that's okay, right? We get stopped out and we'll re-enter a trade. But of course, we want to avoid getting stopped out as much as possible. CoreWeave is next up. So this is a stock that's just been on an absolute tear since its IPO. Really, really good performer. And whenever a stock is in like the semiconductor industry, right, something, a theme or a sector that's been really hot over the last few years, that's made a move like this, we want to pay attention, right? Because these are market-leading stocks. These are stocks that can continue moving higher, even when everyone else thought it's already made such a large move. So CoreWeave has pulled back off the highs. It's not necessarily ready to break out again, but I am monitoring this setup because it could develop something here on the hourly. This isn't like something where it's like, oh, Monday, if it gets over a key level, I'll buy. It's kind of just something I'm monitoring at the moment. There are plenty of stocks where it's like, okay, yeah, over this level, could be tomorrow or Monday in this instance, I'll buy. But yeah, this is something that I'm just watching, monitoring, and I'm not entirely ready to actually take a position here above a certain level. CELH is nice, but we did stop out on this name not too long ago. So this was my key level. I entered on, what did I enter on? I think I entered on this day. It just wasn't strong enough to continue running. But nonetheless, it's been really strong. This stock, while the rest of the market was dropping, was pushing higher, and it's made decent strides off the lows. Obviously, it's almost doubled off the lows, and it's held up, right? It's held up. It's putting in a higher low here, and again, it's pushing the key level once again. I think if it pops over 38 with stronger volume, I'll take it. So again, one of the reasons why I can attribute this stopping us back out is because there wasn't really any strong volume on this breakout. Right on this day here, which is the day I believe I entered the position, the volume really wasn't any, it was just slightly higher than any other day, right? It was really hardly above average. So ideally, I'm looking for more buying on Celsius on the day I get in, because that's going to help us confirm the move, right? When you have new buyers stepping into a position, when it breaks out higher, we have more confidence about the quality and the strength of this breakout. So without that, you're always taking a little additional risk. I thought it was worth it given the risk reward, and it most likely was, even though it stopped us out. But anyway, next time around on this, I'm looking for a little bit stronger volume. And you also have to gauge the market, right? Like, if the market is really strong, you don't need that much, you don't need a significant amount of volume. Right now, we're kind of a little bit at a crossroads pivot point here, and I definitely would only take strong volume breakouts right now. So, yeah, it needs to be a higher confidence trade for me to really want to enter trades here. Robinhood is really nice, and we traded Robinhood recently, made a really nice trade on it on this breakout here. I want to say I bought on this day right here, and we took options. So this was a really nice move. I sold, I believe, in the low 60s, somewhere in this area here. And right now it's pushing new highs. So we zoom out on this stock, and this all-time high level is really key, right? So the stock has been trying to break out to new all-time highs, but it's been rejecting the 66.8 level. It's just called 67. This also coincides with the prior all-time highs. So a breakout to new all-time highs, especially after this consolidation, could be really big. And I think Robinhood is, it is a very strong stock, and this is something that we definitely want to pay attention to going into next week. So DoorDash. DoorDash is really nice on the weekly time frame. Stock's been on fire, like on the weekly. You can see it's just been trending higher consistently. And now, you go to the daily, you can see it's at a key level here, wants to break out to some new highs. I like it over, let's just say, a daily candle close over these highs here. That's what I would look for. Daily candle close. This is more of a weekly setup, but for a weekly setup, for me to get my entry in, I want to see a daily candle close over Friday's highs. So that would be ideal for my entry. I don't know why my moving averages got deleted. I'm not sure if they've been deleted the whole video, but moving averages, I just want to mention, are really important for us to sell stocks. Like, it helps us gauge momentum in a name. For our entries, they're not that important, but anyway, they help us visualize where the momentum is. And I don't know why they're not. I'm not going to add them back in the middle of recording this, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. OKLO is more of an hourly setup, but it's been really strong. Gapped up with some Trump news. They want to obviously rely more on nuclear, especially with these data centers and stuff. That's kind of a trending theme, you could say, or trending story narrative. And the hourly looks interesting. I'm just similarly to similarly to CoreWeave. I'm just looking to see how this develops, right? I'm not ready to make an entry above a certain level. I just want to see how it sets up. I want to see how this develops over time. That's what I'm primarily focused on. So that's that. But it's in the right industry, right? It's in the right theme, right story. Grindr, GRND. So this is a stock that I actually entered few days ago and I stopped out, and it actually bounced off those lows. So I took on this day, broke out, was looking really nice, and it just pulled back on me. And I ended up cutting it like right around here, so I cut it for a quick loss, and it's trying to float back higher. You could visualize it more in the daily. It was looking really good, and market kind of sold off on Friday, and I just wanted to stop out on this thing. So, but anyway, it still looks really good, and I will most likely re-enter this trade. And it's okay. Sometimes you get shaken out of a trade, and it's important to re-enter because, again, we're taking very small losses. So one win is significantly larger than many losses. Significantly larger than a loss. So we could take multiple losses, on a trade that has a really good setup and eventually come out in the green. So Grindr is one of those stocks that has just been on a tear. And again, this is a beautiful setup up here, the way it developed. I'm looking for higher levels on this. So I'm not going to let one stop loss take me away from profiting on a setup like this. So I'm willing to try again. Market again, a little shaky this week. It just made it more difficult for the stock to really break out. So that's that. But Grindr is definitely something that I will be watching next week. So next one, QXO. QXO is pretty nice here. Stock's made a decent move off those lows. And so the lows were $12. Now we're at $17. And it's setting up here. I would say a break with some volume over 1734. You can see it's kind of tapped and rejected this level a few times, or 1730, I would say, yeah. With some strong volume, right? I want some stronger volume here, right? So we get stronger volume and get over the 1730 level. That will be a stock I would consider taking an entry on. But like I said, right now, the market is so-so. I am only going to take higher quality trades at the moment, because when market is a little indecisive and it's news driven, right? We have this the tariff news, so very news driven, headline driven market. It's a little bit harder to ride waves of momentum. So we really only want to stick it to the best names, because again, taking a lot of trades in an unfavorable market is a great way for traders to kind of diminish the gains they made in the previous, good market cycle. So it's just important to be aware of these things. And again, if the market's not great, you don't take trades. It's pretty simple. So, but I wanted to come out here and show some, good examples of possible trades. I think it's important. I haven't posted in a while. So anyway, at this point in the video, if you like what you're seeing, please please subscribe. That would be appreciated. We have 2 more setups and then I will end the video. So VFF, this is, I haven't done really any research into what stock this is or what they do. It's $1 a share. So I assume this isn't really the highest quality of companies, but again, they're not losing too much money. So anyway, let's go. Stock makes a big move here, right? It's made a nice move off the lows, and it's flagging up, right? We're seeing the stock is not really dipping below 118. We're seeing lower highs, so the stock's tightening up, volume's declining. So basically, we just want to break out of volume and a breakout of price, right? And I would consider taking this trade for the next leg higher. That's what I'm looking at here, but it's nothing crazy, to be honest. It's most likely I won't take this. Apps is similar to Grindr. I entered it on the same day, and I stopped out on this on Friday, dipped below my stop loss, and it floated back up. The market kind of flipped intraday, shook a lot of people out of positions. But like I said, this looks really good. It had strong volume, by the way, on this day too. So it was an overall really nice breakout. Has earnings on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens there. But overall, it's a really nice setup. It broke out here. It's made a nice move. Stock has had a change of character in the last couple months here. This stock was a massive bubble in 2021, completely fell apart. As you can see on the weekly here, this is for the first time the stock is not really making lows, right? It's actually making higher lows. So I'm interested on the weekly. Maybe we can get a decent retracement on this stock. So I'm not going to let a small 30-cent stop loss take me out of a trade that can make me a lot of money, right? So that's kind of the whole logic behind re-entering trades that are really strong. And I would consider to do that on GRND and apps, APPS. So anyway, that's today's video. I hope if you guys have any questions, comment below. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one.